Wonders and adventures await beyond the confines of our present moment. Time travel, a concept that sparks the imagination and beckons us to explore the unknown.
The German invasion of Poland on September 1st, 1939, marked the beginning of World War II. This event shattered the fragile peace that had followed World War I. After years of tension and appeasement, Hitler unleashed the Wehrmacht, Germany's powerful military machine, upon its eastern neighbour. The invasion of Poland was swift and brutal, showcasing the devastating effectiveness of Blitzkrieg tactics. The world watched in horror as Poland, ill-prepared for such an onslaught, was quickly overrun. The German Luftwaffe, utilising its superior air power, bombed Polish cities, towns and military installations. On the ground, German panzer divisions, supported by mechanised infantry, broke through Polish lines with terrifying speed. The Polish army, though courageous, simply could not match the German military's technology, training and sheer firepower. The invasion of Poland exposed the failure of diplomacy and the dangers of appeasement. It became tragically clear that Hitler's ambitions extended far beyond simply righting perceived wrongs of the Treaty of Versailles. The invasion signalled the start of a conflict that would engulf the globe and cost millions of lives. Blitzkrieg, German for lightning war, was a revolutionary military doctrine that emphasized speed, surprise, and concentrated force. This innovative approach to warfare relied heavily on mobile units, air power, and close coordination between different branches of the military. It was designed to overwhelm and disorient the enemy, leaving them unable to mount an effective defense. Central to the Blitzkrieg was the Panzer Division, a highly mobile and heavily armed unit combining tanks, mechanized infantry and artillery. These divisions would spearhead attacks, punching through enemy lines and creating chaos in the enemy's rear. The Luftwaffe played a crucial role, providing close air support to ground troops, bombing enemy positions and disrupting supply lines. The speed and ferocity of the Blitzkrieg stunned the world. Traditional military doctrines, emphasizing static defenses and slow, methodical advances, were rendered obsolete. The fall of Poland in a matter of weeks demonstrated the terrifying effectiveness of this new form of warfare. It was a stark warning to the rest of Europe that a new era of conflict had begun. The Munich Agreement, signed in September 1938, stands as a symbol of failed appeasement and the dangers of accommodating aggression. In this agreement, Britain and France, eager to avoid another devastating war, allowed Hitler to annex the Sudetenland, a German-speaking region of Czechoslovakia. The hope was that this concession would satisfy Hitler's territorial ambitions and prevent further conflict. The Munich Agreement was a grave miscalculation. It emboldened Hitler, confirming his belief that the Western powers lacked the stomach for a fight. He famously dismissed Britain and France as worms after securing their acquiescence in Munich. The agreement also shattered Czechoslovakia's defences, leaving the country vulnerable to further German aggression. Within months, Hitler violated the terms of the Munich Agreement, occupying the rest of Czechoslovakia. This act of naked aggression shattered any remaining illusions about his true intentions. The world finally realized that Hitler's appetite for conquest could not be satisfied by appeasement. The stage was set for a wider European war.
Driven by a toxic ideology of racial hatred and a thirst for German domination, I dragged Europe into a catastrophic conflict. My early successes, facilitated by my charisma, cunning, and ruthlessness, emboldened me to pursue ever more dangerous gambles.
Adolf Hitler's role in the outbreak of World War II is undeniable. From his early days as a political agitator, Hitler displayed a remarkable ability to captivate audiences and exploit their fears and prejudices. He skillfully used propaganda and scapegoating to consolidate his power and build support for his expansionist agenda. His book, Mein Kampf, laid out his twisted worldview, outlining his plans for German expansion and the subjugation of inferior races. Hitler's early victories in the war, achieved through a combination of blitzkrieg tactics and the Allies' initial reluctance to confront him directly further fueled his sense of invincibility. He believed himself to be a military genius, destined to lead Germany to world domination. This dangerous self-belief would have disastrous consequences for both Germany and the world.
Section 5. Dictators at the helm, Hitler versus Stalin.
The early years of World War II were dominated by two ruthless dictators, Adolf Hitler and Joseph Stalin. While united by their shared brutality, their leadership styles and ideologies differed significantly. Understanding these differences is crucial to comprehending the war's dynamics.
Hitler, driven by a fanatical belief in German racial superiority, was ideologically driven. His actions were guided by emotion and a warped sense of destiny.
Stalin, on the other hand, was a cold, calculating pragmatist. His primary concern was the preservation and expansion of his own power. The clash between these two totalitarian regimes shaped the 20th century. Section 6. Voices from the Front Lines, Poland, 1939. The human cost of the war's outbreak is best understood through the eyes of those who experienced its horrors firsthand. In Poland, the first victim of Nazi aggression, the invasion brought terror, destruction and displacement to millions.
The sirens wailed, and then the earth shook. The sky was filled with planes, and the air reeked of smoke and burning. We huddled in the cellar, praying for the nightmare to end.
For Hans, a young German soldier in a panzer division, the invasion was a chaotic blur of adrenaline and fear.
We advanced so quickly, crushing everything in our path. The Poles fought bravely, but they were outmatched. I saw things, terrible things that I will never forget.
These personal accounts offer a glimpse into the human toll of the conflict. They remind us that behind the grand strategies and political maneuverings lay the suffering of ordinary people caught in the crossfire of war. Section 7. A Pact of Convenience, the Nazi-Soviet Non-Aggression Pact. The world was stunned in August 1939 when Nazi Germany and the Soviet Union, two ideologically opposed regimes, signed a non-aggression pact. This pact, known as the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact, included a secret protocol dividing Eastern Europe into spheres of influence. It paved the way for the joint invasion and partition of Poland.
For me, the pact secured our eastern border, allowing us to conquer Poland without Soviet interference. It also provided Germany with access to Soviet raw materials.
Motivated by my own strategic calculations, I gained valuable time to strengthen the Soviet military. I also saw an opportunity to expand Soviet territory at the expense of Poland and the Baltic states.
The Nazi-Soviet pact was a marriage of convenience, born of cynicism and a shared thirst for power. It shattered any illusions about a united front against Nazi aggression. The pact's consequences were immediate and far-reaching. It unleashed a wave of terror and oppression across Eastern Europe, as both Nazi Germany and the Soviet Union moved swiftly to consolidate their gains. Section 8. West versus East, a tale of two fronts. The early stages of World War II witnessed starkly different experiences on the Western and Eastern fronts. In the West, after the fall of Poland, a period of relative inactivity ensued, known as the Phony War. This stalemate was shattered in May 1940 when Hitler launched his lightning offensive, conquering Denmark, Norway, the Netherlands, Belgium and France.
The speed and ferocity of the German advance shocked the world, exposing the weaknesses of the Allied defences.
On the Eastern Front, the war took on a far more brutal character. Following the joint German-Soviet invasion of Poland, Stalin's forces occupied the Baltic states. The contrast between the Western and Eastern fronts highlighted the different character of the war in these two theatres. Section 9. Conclusion: the unfolding tragedy. The outbreak and expansion of World War II in Europe between 1939 and 1941 marked a dark chapter in human history. Driven by aggressive ideologies, unchecked ambition and a failure of diplomacy, the conflict engulfed the continent in a maelstrom of violence and destruction. The early years of the war revealed the terrifying effectiveness of Blitzkrieg tactics and exposed the fragility of peace in a world teetering on the brink. The Nazi-Soviet pact, a cynical pact between dictators, shattered any remaining illusions about a united front against aggression. As the war raged on, its consequences would be felt far beyond the battlefields of Europe. It would reshape the political landscape of the world, usher in the atomic age, and leave an indelible scar on the human psyche. The lessons learned from this devastating conflict about the dangers of unchecked aggression, the importance of international cooperation, and the need to safeguard human rights remain as relevant as ever in the 21st century.